Okay, in fact, we were just getting you story from Lithuania, where the Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu there is speaking. Is it?
I have great pleasure to be here today amongst you and address this prestigious business forum aimed at furthering economic cooperation between India and Lithuania. Your presence here is indeed a signature of trust that you place in India-Lithuania business cooperation. The warm outreach of the two nations' body politic has created a fertile ground to reap the fruits of economic development. I would particularly like to thank His Excellency the Minister for being here today, this morning. Our joint presence here underlines our commitment to deepen our economic and trade linkages. I am happy that 11 companies from India are participating in this business engagement, which gives me great optimism about the future. My dear sisters and brothers, our countries share a strong cultural links dating back to centuries. The Lithuanian language is a close Indo-European language to Sanskrit. The other day, the Honorable Prime Minister presented me a book where certain words, more than 100 words of Sanskrit and local Lithuanian language are almost one and the same. There may be many more. If you do further research, it may go into thousands also. The Lithuanian language is that way is closest to the language Sanskrit. In the last century, the deep friendship between Mahatma Gandhi and the Lithuanian Dr. Herman Karenbach further strengthened our mutual appreciation of each other. In more recent times, Lithuania has been an important partner for India in Europe, as both countries share the common values of democracy, freedom and rule of law. Both our countries are also marching together on the road to successfully adopting a free, transparent and robust business environment. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world. We are the largest parliamentary democracy in the world, and now, according to reports of the World Bank, World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, Asian Development Bank, Moody's ratings, everybody is saying if India moves at the same pace with the reforms, it will become the third largest economy in the world. So that being the case, we have taken many ambitious plans to build the next generation infrastructure, including 100 smart cities, airports, high-speed trains, highways, and cyber connectivity. There is a rapid growth in construction of national highways, and there are ambitious plans to develop more than 100 rivers as national waterways. These programs will vastly improve connectivity and prove as a catalyst for industrialization and to take our trade and investment to a new level. India's growing market offers immense opportunities for Lithuanian business. India offers a rising middle-class market comparable to that of European Union. The skilled youth under 35 years comprise about 60% of our population. You are all aware we have 1.3 billion population. It is the sixth largest economy in the world as of now, with a GDP growth trajectory of around 8% per annum, which would enable the nation to evolve into a $5 trillion economy by the year 2024 and 25. To achieve this end, India requires approximately $292 billion in new investments every year. Indian labor force is expected to touch 160 to 170 million by 2020, based on the rate of population growth, increased labor force participation, and higher education enrollment, among other factors, according to a study by Association and Industrial Body and Third Arbitrage Research Institute. India's gross domestic product, GDP, is expected to reach $6 trillion by financial year 2027 and achieve upper middle class income status on the back of digitization, globalization, favorable demographics and reforms. India also is focusing on renewable sources to generate energy. It is planning to achieve 40% of its energy from non-fossil sources by 2030, which is currently 30%, and also have plans to increase its renewable energy capacity to 175 gigawatts by 2022. India is among the countries with the largest production of energy from the renewable sources. As of June 30, 2019, India has an installed renewable energy capacity of 80.47 gigawatts, of which solar and wind comprises 29.55 gigawatts and 36.37 gigawatts respectively. Biomass and small hydropower constitute 9.81 gigawatts and 4.6 gigawatts respectively. Thus, India can offer one of the largest investment opportunities in the renewable space. The Government of India allows 100% foreign direct investments under the automatic route for projects of renewable power generation and distribution. Some time back, friends, I was traveling in London. The driver who was driving my cab, he told me, "Sir, good morning." I said, "Okay, namaste." Then he said, "Sir, today is a sunny day, a happy, very sunny day." I couldn't understand him. I said, "Is it your son's birthday?" He said, "No, sir, sunny day." Then I told him, "Poor man, in India 365 days are sunny days. We have bright sun every day." Of late, we have realized the importance, and we also joined the International Solar Alliance along with France, and now it's getting expanded. I have invited your president also, Lithuania also should join the Solar Alliance. There is a vast scope for that energy in India. We have been successfully reforming and transforming our business environment so as to attract investments of this scale. The Prime Minister has given a 3-line mantra or advice, whatever you call it. He said reform, perform and transform. Transformation of every walk of life. Earlier people used to complain about red tape. He said, no more red tape, it's red carpet. Whoever want to invest, there will be a red carpet for them. Ease of doing business, that is the agenda now. Removing obstacles in the way of doing business. And giving business its due and respect is also top on the priority of the government. Because business is one way, business and industry, they add to your economy. They create wealth. People politicians normally want to distribute wealth. Before distributing, you need to create wealth. Without creating wealth, if you start distributing, you know what will happen also. Already it happened to some countries. So you have to simultaneously go on adding wealth, generating wealth through various means. And we also have a knowledge economy. India is a vast pool of knowledge, and added to that we have taken up skill development on a massive scale, upgrading the skills that is already there, identifying, upgrading skills and promoting them with a demographic dividend of 60 to 65% of the people being below 35 years. And if the skill upgradation also catches up, is catching up now, then definitely there is a lot of vast scope that we can not only use the human resource for our this thing, but also we can export huge number of human resource also to other countries. India has rapidly risen from 100th rank in 2017 to 77th rank in 2018 as per the World Bank's report on ease of doing business. India attracted $64.4 billion worth of FDI in the fiscal year 2018 and 19. This is expected to rise even further as India opens up to FDI even in previously restricted sectors such as aviation, media and insurance. Our enabling business environment has been given a boost with implementation of the GST, goods and service tax, uniting the country into a unified single market. That is the biggest and largest revolutionary, transformative taxation proposal in the world, I can proudly say. And that GST legislation is passed by consensus. All political parties were consulted and totally it was almost passed unanimously in the parliament. So ease of doing business is one way is single tax. You need not stop everywhere and then face all the hurdles and all. The success of cooperative federalism, where India's huge states are equal partners in fostering growth and development, increased resources to online clearances, and rationalization and simplification of tax laws are all bearing fruit in increasing India's attractive as an investment destination. Now the move is to move towards online. You need not stand in line. Apply, you will get reply, otherwise deemed to have been approved. That is the line on which we are progressing. The guiding principles behind the India's government's approach to business is minimum government and maximum governance. Minimum government, maximum governance. The Make in India flagship program of the central government seeks to bring our industrial infrastructure, policies and practices to best global standards and to transform India into a global manufacturing hub. To this end, more than 1400 old laws and acts which have been obstructing the ease of business have been abolished. We have introduced a low tax regime whereby we have reduced the corporate tax from 30 to 25% for new investments and smaller ventures. More than 90% of the FDI approvals are now accorded through the automatic route, and no government approval is required for investment in the manufacturing sector except in the defense sector. India offers globally cost competitive manufacturing operating environment to companies which seek opportunities to cater to Asian and African markets through their manufacturing bases in India. Our vision of Digital India seeks to combine the strength of India's more than 1 billion mobile phone users who have been given unique ID and access to banking facilities to unleash the benefits of the digital age in the world's largest democracy. Similarly, Lithuania has achieved great success in the last 3 decades since regaining its independence. It now commands an enviable 14th rank in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report. I compliment and congratulate the government and the people of this country for this achievement. It is very impressive GDP growth of 3.5% in 2018, high standards of living and extremely favorable investment climate accorded to a place of distinction in Europe. It is therefore but natural that Indian investments have found its way into Lithuania. However, India-Lithuanian bilateral trade is around $300 million. Does not really reflect our true potential, this vast scope. There is a need to double our efforts and explore more and more areas of cooperation and engagement. Our economies have significant complementarities in which we can be leveraged for mutually beneficial cooperation. Yesterday, I had meaningful discussion with the President on taking forward India-Lithuania multifaceted relations with special emphasis on our economic ties. We are both convinced that there is immense potential to take the relationship to a higher level. Dear sisters and brothers, given the economic strength of both the countries, I am optimistic that this business forum would become the platform to enhance our areas of fruitful cooperation. Since Lithuania is an important IT and IT-enabled service center in Europe, especially in the areas of financial technologies, fintech, Indian companies could look into utilizing this opportunity to expand their operation in Europe. This can be a gateway. Pharmaceutical is another area of potential collaboration by both sides, as Indian products, world-class pharmaceuticals, are highly competitive price, which may be required in Lithuania, which is trying to rationalize its spending on health care. I also visualize Lithuania as a strong technology partner for India in various areas of opportunity such as agro-food processing, where both are agriculture-oriented economies also. And agro-food processing is an important area for value addition. The agriculture worldwide is under stress. One way is, of course, diversification of crops. The second one is value addition through food processing. Since Lithuania has strengths in dairy and cheese production and such, technologies would be appreciated in India's mega food parks. India is strongly focused on harnessing solar power to meet its energy needs and intends to produce 100 gigawatts of solar by 2022. Given Lithuania's technological competence in solar storage cells, we could seek appropriate transfer of technologies from you. Lithuania could also strongly support India's Make in India initiative, as it is a global leader in the supply of certain types of lasers which are used in the manufacturing sector for various applications including defense, space and medical devices. I am happy to see that the higher education is also becoming an important area of our cooperation, as the number of Indian students in Lithuania have risen significantly in recent times. I was there yesterday in Kaunas city, where I met a good number of Indian students. They are all very happy about the quality of education that is provided to them. Sisters and brothers, the opportunities for our economic and commercial cooperation are therefore numerous, and I would strongly invite the leaders of Lithuanian industry to visit India and take personal note of the immense advantage of Indian market. As a starting point, I would like to invite a major government and business delegation from Lithuania to participate in the upcoming India-Europe 29 Business Forum, scheduled in Delhi this November. In November, weather will suit you also. Otherwise, you know, Indian weather is average hot. This present temperature of 23-24 degrees is the lowest. That means that there is no need for air conditioning at that time. So November, December and January, February, they are ideal months for any people from the European side to come to India. In conclusion, I would just say that governments can only facilitate business, but you are the true spearheads of the greater economic engagement. I once again thank the government of Lithuania and all the stakeholders for making today's business forum a success. It's a very beautiful country. Me and my delegation are very much impressed by the weather, by the civic sense of the people, and also it is not only beautiful, but people are dutiful. If beauty and duty combined, then it can create a mighty nation. All the best. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu just addressed the India-Lithuania Business Forum meeting, and he was talking about the common connect between the two countries, also in fact talking about how the ties are on an upswing. He said that India is a major growing economy and that offers immense business opportunities. In fact, he also said that the ease of doing business and the cooperative federalism being the cornerstone of the government's economic policies. Remember, the Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu in fact will also be holding talks with the Prime Minister of Lithuania today, and he is on a three-nation visit to Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, just addressed the India-Lithuania Business Forum meeting. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news.